So hello and good morning students. So today we would like to discuss about stationary non-equilibrium state. That means the state which exists in stationary state, but definitely the system as a whole is not in equilibrium state. That means because we know that we have discussed this whole discussion about this chapter is a thermodynamically non-equilibrium state. Okay, so it's the state behaves as a stationary state, but the system is not exist in thermodynamic equilibrium. So let's go to the discussion. So one of the most common example of the stationary non-equilibrium state is the thermomolecular potential difference. Here I would like to discuss that thermomolecular potential difference means you have to measure the potential difference or pressure difference in a system where there exists a huge difference of temperature in different parts of the system or different phases of the system. Okay, so there you can find the stationary non-equilibrium state. In that case, the transport of matter, that is we generally express as Jm, is not zero, yet the transport of energy between the two phases at the different temperatures as well as the entropy production are different from zero. That means in a simple word, the transport of matter Jm is non-zero, and the transport of energy which is also non-zero, and the entropy production which are also non-zero. That means all these functions are non-zero, but in general thermodynamic equilibrium these functions should be zero in real or virtual thermodynamic equilibrium condition. Okay. By contrast, the state variables are independent of time, so that we may describe this state as stationary non-equilibrium state or simply as stationary state, because the state variables through which we can describe the systems, if they are independent of time, then it's very easy for us to describe this non-equilibrium state or simply as stationary states. So there should not be any confusion between such states and the equilibrium states, because in the equilibrium state we know that the state variables are independent of time. That means throughout the time these variables will not change their values, and the entropy production or the mass flow or the energy flow is zero when the system exists in equilibrium states. Okay. A stationary state arises when the concentration of the intermediate component no longer vary with time. So we have already know this thing, because when a system approaches equilibrium or a stationary state arises, then the intermediate of these states should be that means the change of the concentration of these intermediates should remain zero. Okay, that means it is no longer vary with time. So consider a one component system in which both the temperature gradient, which is generally expressed as x, generally we express all these force or affinities as x, okay, and the fluxes as j. So temperature gradient through is x thermal, as well as the concentration gas gradient which is generally expressed as xm. Okay, in the vicinity of the equilibrium, that means when the system exists very close to equilibrium but not in equilibrium, the entropy production per unit time, which is generally expressed as dis by dt, where t is small t is for time, is given by dis by dt equal to J thermal, which is the flux, thermal flux into the gradient, thermal gradient, plus mass flux into the mass gradient, and this should be greater than zero. Okay, and the linear phenomenological laws for the temperature flask and the mass flask are given by, because according to the Onsager reciprocal relations and the Onsager phenomenological laws, we know that within a system which is not in equilibrium or irreversible type system, where there exist both temperature gradient and the concentration gradient, then the flow of one kind is also influenced by the flow of the other kind. That means other flux also influence its flow. Suppose within a system, if both temperature gradient and concentration gradient exist, then the flow of mass is primarily because of this concentration gradient, but as well as it have a certain contribution from the temperature difference also, and vice versa. So J thermal equal to, I can express is as L11 into X thermal plus L12 into Xm. Okay, where Xm is the concentration gradient. This is equation number 2. And J molar, that is for mass flow, mass flux. So mass flux equal to L21 into X thermal plus L22 into Xm. Here L11 and L12 are the coefficient of thermal conductivity and diffusion coefficient respectively. L12 represent the coefficient of the heat flow associated with the concentration gradient. Because the first one, this L12, in this coefficient the index 1 2, the 1 is for the coefficient of the heat flow, that is represents the 1 is for heat flow, and the second one is under the influence of the concentration gradient, that means 2 number of forces. And the L21 represents similarly the coefficient of the mass flow associated with the temperature gradients. So it can be easily be proven that stationary state may be characterized by an extremum principle. Extremum principle, what does it mean? Which states that in the stationary state, the entropy production has its minimum value, compatible with some auxiliary condition to be applied in each case. Okay, that means when a system reaches equilibrium or it's very close to equilibrium, then the production of entropy should also reach to its minimum value. That is the extremum principle. Thus, we shall derive this equation with which would specify the condition that the entropy production is a minimum for a given value of X thermal. Okay. Thus, we shall derive an equation which would specify the condition that the entropy production is a minimum for a given value of X thermal. That means we should take X thermal as a constant, because we cannot vary both the variables at the same time. So it's better to take one variable as constant value and vary the other. That means in that case we have taken X thermal, that is the temperature gradient is taken as a constant value, and change the concentration gradient. So using equation 2 and 3, that is equation 2 and 3, and Onsager reciprocal relation, that means L12 equal to L21, because the Onsager reciprocal relation is equally applicable to this case. Okay, the entropy production becomes so dis by dt equal to J thermal into X thermal and J molar Jm into Xm, and should be greater than 0. So just putting the value of X thermal, that is J thermal, L11 X thermal plus L12 into Xm multiplied by X thermal plus L21 X thermal L22 Xm multiplied by Xm. So now just multiply this X thermal and Xm with these brackets values, coefficient within this bracket. That means L11 X thermal square, L12 X thermal into Xm, L21 X thermal into Xm, and L22 Xm square, and which should be greater than 0. And we know that the Onsager reciprocal relation is equally applicable to this case. So L21 equal to L12, so we can put this thing as a equal and is a 2. So L11 X thermal square plus 2 into L1 X thermal into Xm plus L22 into Xm square would be greater than 0. That is equation number 4. Now to find a particular parameter is the highest or lowest in value, we generally take this as a derivative. Okay, so taking the derivative of this equation with respect to Xm at constant X thermal, because we have already decided that we have taken the thermal, that is the temperature gradient is a constant value. So that's why X thermal is constant and vary just Xm. So that's why you use partial derivative formula. So del by del Xm dis by dt at a constant X thermal equal to, because when you take X thermal as a constant, that means this total term becomes a constant value. So this with respect to Xm, when you derive this thing, that this gives a 0 value. That's why I have not mentioned here. So 2 into L12 is taken is a constant, and you just vary Xm, so Xm gives you 1. So the remaining terms are L12 into X thermal, and here the Xm square, so it gives you 2 into L22 into Xm, and taken 2 as a common from the, and it's kept outside from this bracket, so if I just keep outside outside this bracket, then the L12 x thermal plus L22 xm gives you exactly what is Jm. That is put in the equation number 3. L12 equal to L21 x thermal plus L22 into xm. So I put just equal to 2 into Jm. That is equation number 5. So in the steady state, generally we know that the mass flux should be 0, because once the system reaches steady state, there should not be any kind of flux. Okay, so mass flux should be 0, that is Jm should be 0, which means that the rate of entropy production has an extremum in the state, because in this equation we find that entropy production rate equal to the sum of these 3 parameters, and if the first derivative and you find that the first derivative of this entropy production rate with respect to xm gives you 2 Jm, and if Jm should be 0 because of this system reaches in the steady state, that means the entropy production rate should reaches a minimum value. This extremum is a minimum, as can be shown by taking the second derivative, because we know that to confirm that whether a parameter gives you a minimum or maximum value, we take the second derivative, and if the second derivative gives you a positive value, then definitely the first derivative or the value whatever you get is a minimum value. So since in the steady state we know that ddxm or del xm by dis by dt equal to 0, because Jm equal to 0 in this equation, so we have d2 by del 2 by del xm2 into dis by dt equal to ddmx of 2 Jm, because after the first derivative we got 2 Jm from this equation at constant x thermal. So 2 is a numerical number, skips it's just put outside this derivative. So 2 del L by del xm into putting the value of Jm to L1 sorry L21 x thermal plus L22 xm, and it basically gives you, because x thermal is a constant, so this total term gives you 0, so only L22 term is remaining. That means L22 term is not a non-zero quantity, that means it's a positive quantity. That means the second derivative of the entropy production rate gives you a positive quantity, which means the entropy production rate reaches a minimum value when the system reaches stationary state. Since L22 is positive, the second derivative is also positive, so that the extremum is a minimum. Okay, that means the entropy production rate reaches a minimum value. This statement furnishes the mathematical statements of Prigoghine's principle of minimum entropy production, according to which at the steady state all the flows corresponding to the unrestricted forces vanishes. That means Prigoghine's describe that when the system reaches at the steady state, or you can say it's a stationary state, then all the unrestricted forces, that means the forces which are not in a constant value, which regularly changes with time, that doesn't give you means because of these forces there should not be any flows, only the constant value, only the forces which gives the constant value when the system reaches stationary state, these only give some value of the flows. The unrestricted forces which are continuously changing with time, that doesn't give any contribution. So the above statement can be generalized to the case of n independent affinities. Let's just assume that within this system not only two, not that means thermal or concentration gradient exist, but a sum of n total number of gradient exist, and which are generally described as x1 x2 up to xn, of which a certain number of values, that is up to k, and let's say k is a value of in between 1 to n, that means which is less than n. Okay, so up to 1 to kth value, the concentration the gradient should be kept in constant, but the k plus 1 to n value is changing. Okay, so of which a certain number k, that is x1 x2 to xk, are kept constant, as we just assume that. In that case, we have for the stationary state according to Prigogine principle, which states that the gradient which changes, that means which are unrestricted, which are not gives a constant value, that means j k plus 1 to jn, the fluxes originated because of these x k plus 1 to xn forces gives you a zero flask rate. Okay, so these conditions are equivalent to the minimum condition for entropy production. That means del xj of dis by dt equal to 0, where j equal to k plus 1 to n. It's any kind of force, not only concentration or thermal gradient, but any kind of force that exists within the system. Okay, so Prigogine proved that the time variation of the rate of entropy production, that means ddt of dis by dt, can be split up into two terms. First one is due to the irreversible process occurring inside the system, and the second one due to the flow of entropy from the system to the surroundings. Okay, that means the total rate of entropy production comes from the two major contribution. One is due to the irreversible process occurring inside the system, and the second one is due to the flow of entropy from the system to the surroundings. The irreversible process occurring inside the system decreases the rate of entropy production until the rate becomes minimum. That means when the system there is many irreversible process occurring within the system, and when the system approaches stationary state or equilibrium, semi-equilibrium state, you can say, then this rate, that means the contribution from the first process, reaches a minimum value. So when the system is in the non-equilibrium steady state, it cannot by itself comes out of it despite being a spontaneous irreversible state. That means when a system is in the non-equilibrium steady state, it cannot by itself comes out of this state is despite being a spontaneous irreversible state. That means when a system approach equilibrium state, then it cannot, it has some tendency that it can exist as a stationary, it can exist in that state unless a very strong irreversible process applied in this state, so that the equilibrium is destroyed and the system comes out from this stationary state. So if some fluctuation occurs which disturb the system from the steady state, the internal changes will occur so as to bring it back to the steady state. That means if some fluctuation or small amount of force originated when the system already approaches the steady state, the internal changes, that means the various internal changes can happen within the system so as to bring it back of the steady state. That means its nature is just like equilibrium state, but in the true sense the system doesn't exist in the equilibrium state. That's why it's called as stationary state and non-equilibrium state. So it's a total description of stationary non-equilibrium state. Thank you.